Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Super Prime UK with me, Rob Cohen, your Super Prime valuation specialist. No James this week, not available, should be back next week, so looking forward to having him and all of his data and intel. Hope you've all had a good week, it's nice and busy out there, and let's get straight into this week's data and share with you what's going on. Let's go through the numbers as always. New instructions at 287 this week, really good number. That shows an uptick from last week of around 10%, and I think that's a trend we're going to see as the year moves in. I think we're going to get more instructions and the market activity is going to increase. We have 141 sales. That's also a good number, an uptick on last week, and I think that's going to grow as more activity happens moving through the first quarter of 2022. We have the final numbers for the month of January in the Super Prime and Prime section. 103, 2 million plus, 55, 3 million plus, 13, 5 million plus, only 3 million, 10 million plus. That's the least performing month in Prime, Super Prime in the last year. That's a really interesting one. On the back of December 2021 being the best performing super prime month and prime month that we have seen in years. So maybe that's just a byproduct of December being so strong that we've seen a soft January prime, super prime going into 2022. We have some questions this week from the audience. Thank you so much for that Q&A. So let's go into that and I can answer those questions. Okay, as we brought you on last week's show, we were expecting another interest rate increase. It happened 0.25% up to 0.5%. It was strongly expected and predicted, and yes, it has come into the marketplace. It will affect obviously borrowing, and those on trackers would have seen an increase pretty much immediately, and there are going to be concerns about how competitive interest rates, mortgage rates, will be on lending because of the interest rates increase. Now, the reason for the Bank of England doing that is because they want to soften the market and cool that down, and also they want to pull in inflation, and thus that is the mechanism that they're using. What do I think will happen with the market because of that? I think firstly it was built in, so I think we've known for quite a long time that was going to be the case, especially off the back of last year's increase. So I think built in and expected, so no surprise there. What it will do is it will test the waters in the sense of, will still people be able to buy as much, or will it push them to go into refinance and want to lock and secure good terms on their mortgages? So yes, Bank of England have brought it in to try and cool the market and inflation. Will it have a short-term effect on the market? Probably not enough to create the impact that the Bank of England are looking for, but it will have an impact, and we are seeing obviously across the board increases in housing stock in terms of pricing, an increase in rental stock as well. Rents for certain product, houses for certain product for sale are going up, and so that is something that the Bank of England are looking at. Okay, this is the big question for us. The shortage and lack of stock, both in sales and rentals, is putting a lot of pressure on pricing, which means the good stock in the right locations and the right areas are seeing increases because the demand for that stock, whether in sales or rentals, outweighs the demand, the supply that's being provided, which in turn puts pressure on pricing, which is why you're seeing price increases. So do we see that changing? Definitely feel that in 2022 we're going to see an increase in stock coming to the market. I'm relatively confident of that. I feel there'll be speculative sellers who are looking to maybe capitalize and maximize what they can achieve for their property. And I also think in the rental market, there'll be stock coming on as investors look to, again, hopefully increase their return on investment with higher rental figures if the demand, as I said previously, outweighs the supply on the market. So I do think there's going to be an increase in stock and supply coming to the market this year. Will it be enough to soften the increase in pricing that we're seeing? I think that's the bigger question. That's the golden question. All the banks and the lenders and the risk teams across the world always ask us, that question. Oh, for purposes of X and Y, and where's the split and the break? There's no actual official regulated term or number that people use. Broadly speaking, though, across the world, so you're talking about global super prime, you're talking broadly $10 million plus. A lot of the indexes and lenders work off that figure, $10 million plus above super prime. And below that, possibly you're looking somewhere between 3 to 10 million as your prime. So that's where the split. Other entities and banks and lenders maybe use 5 million plus as their number, maybe in pounds, and everything between 2 and 5 is considered just prime. So there isn't an agreed consensus across the world, but generally the cutoff point from prime to super prime across the world in global wealth and super prime property is normally the $10 million figure. Okay, brilliant questions this week. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Great engagement. We are here, obviously, to always provide you and help you with that. I hope everyone's had a good week. Really short, sharp, punchy show this week on the back of the interest rate increase last week with the latest data and intel. We will be back next week with even more updates on what's happening on the ground, what's going on in the market, and all of the latest information and trends and signals that we're seeing. Thank you for joining this week. Really appreciate it. Have a good week. Take care, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Oh, happy birthday, Rob.
Oh, cheers.
I've got these cakes for you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very kind of you.
How old are you today, Rob?
Well, big birthday today. Hope everyone enjoyed the birthday show. Nice surprise from the team. I suppose question of the week, what's everyone prefer? Colin the caterpillar or the Victoria sponge?